The COVID-19 virus is hitting travel worldwide in unprecedented. As business trips are being cancelled and tourists stay at home, the airline industry is facing the worst downturn since the 2008 financial. It is estimated that ensuing cuts to short and medium-range timetables will reduce Lufthansa's offerings by up to a quarter. Until recently, it was unthinkable that the biggest German carrier would ever reduce the number of its domestic flights in Germany. But now a total of 23 planes out of Lufthansa's fleet of 760 aircraft have been grounded. Underestimating the threat? The latest predictions measuring the impact of the coronavirus on global air traffic date back to more than meaning they are becoming as quickly outdated as the virus spreads around the planet. In a first assessment released on February 20, the International Air Transport Association, IATA, expected that the coronavirus would primarily affect airlines with a strong business in a baseline scenario, assuming the Asian powerhouse would remain the epicenter of the outbreak. The organization predicted a worldwide slump in the number of airline passengers by 4.8 for 2020, already a substantial downturn from the 4.1 growth it predicted as recently as December. Hit already by dramatically falling passenger numbers, the novel COVID-19 pathogen is forcing global airlines to make costly contingency plans to contain spread of This constitutes the first global decline since the 2008-2009 financial crisis, and will cut airline revenue by a total of $29.3 billion. 26.3 billion euros, IATA said. Infect within the industry, comparisons are being drawn to the SARS epidemic of 2003, which, indeed, remained largely restricted to the Asia-Pacific region. At the time, airlines suffered a 5.3 decline in passenger numbers over a period of 6 months, but recovered quickly. This is the worst crisis since SARS and even since 9/11 in the United States, said aviation expert Brian Summers. People just don't want to fly anymore and prefer to stay at home to wait and see. A culture of fear is evolving, he told Aviation Magazine's Gift recently. Who is it this time? But Summers also believes that airlines are in a much better shape these days, and will be less affected by the coronavirus outbreak. As a matter of fact, 9/11 wreaked havoc especially among U.S. airlines, leading to bankruptcies and forced consolidation in the industry. In Europe, aviation icons such as Swiss Air and Sabena fell victim to the massive decline. As 3/4 of its flights were cancelled, the airline furloughed 27,000 staff without pay, but claims that this time it'll be different. May the premature. Cathay Pacific, the once proud Hong Kong flag carrier, has already suffered massive losses as a result of the pro-democracy protests in the former, darkening the horizon for the struggling industry even further. Now, Cathay is being dealt another blow as it had to ground 120 out of 200 planes. Arne Schnalk, a professor of transportation at the University of Applied Sciences in Bad Honnef, Germany, also compares the current crisis with the SARS outbreak 17 years ago, when 30 of global fleets were grounded and 45 of all flights cancelled. There's a strong resemblance of the effects in 2003, when at the height of the crisis passenger numbers plunged 35. He told DW and added that 2020 could become the worst year for airlines since the global freight transport may not come to the rescue of airlines either. He says, although container shipping is limited to opening up niche opportunities for some, about 50 of all air freight is additional cargo and passenger planes. So if more passenger planes are being cancelled, this also limits the scope for the cargo business, he told DW. An additional problem for airlines, he says, is there a bit an unclear spreading of the coronavirus, making planning almost impossible. So, for all who have to travel by plane, the IATA still has the simple advice that apart from waiting and hoping, passengers should wash their hands frequently and sneeze into their elbow or a tissue, because wearing a mask all the time is insufficient. Just on Monday, German flag carrier Lufthansa unveiled a series of cuts in its flight schedule. Since Facebook, Twitter, Google+, WhatsApp, Tumblr, LinkedIn, StumbleDig, Reddit, Newsfeed, permalink.pw.com/p/3 stock markets around the world have plunged amid mounting concerns about the impact of the COVID-19 virus on business. The virus has continued to spread, with 27 new cases in Germany. DW has the latest. Following the outbreak of the disease in northern Italy, the Italian government is forecasting severe economic losses. Tourism is responsible for 13% of the Italian gross domestic product. The coronavirus epidemic has triggered several warnings from officials about an impending pandemic. Follow DW for the latest updates across the globe as public health authorities struggle to contain including extending its complete ban on flights to China until April 24th and to Iran until April 30th. Not more than a few weeks ago, there were hopes within the industry that the virus outbreak could be contained to China. Now there is talk of the biggest crisis emerging since the Great Depression just over a decade ago. Lufthansa's announced cuts, which also include a 40% reduction of flights to Italy, are showing that airlines' flight plans are hit by more than just a few cancellations on routes to Beijing or